Welcome to the Knitting Game and Other Stuff. I'm Leslie, your host, and this is episode 32 for September 12th, 2012. First, I want to say thank you to all of you who are stopping by for the first time. And I want to say welcome back to everyone who has been with me before. I do this for you guys as much as I do it for me. I like to share, but I like for folks to play along and have a good time. So it makes me happy to know that folks are joining in. So with that in mind, if you'd like to keep in touch, or if you would like to see the projects that I'm working on, the vendors that I use to buy fiber and yarn and all sorts of goodies, designers and patterns, just go ahead to myordinaryjourney.com. It's all one word, and that is my blog, and everything is there, the show notes and all sorts of goodies. So moving on, I would like to welcome our 3 newest members. We are at 99. I can't believe it. 99 folks. Now, I know that's not a real indication of how many people are watching the show, but honestly, if only a 10th of that are folks watching the show, it just makes it so, I get so happy and excited. And not to mention, I see how many people vote each week, so I've noticed the numbers trending up, and that too is amazing. So I want to say welcome to our 3 newest members. We have Reardon Knits. I don't know your first name, I'm sorry, but hi Reardon Knits, thank you for joining us. Knit-tastic, who is Susie, so that is awesome. And then Rista1313, Susan, she is our 99th member. So ladies, I'm assuming maybe Reardon's a guy. Oh, that would be so nifty. Oh, I'll think about that one. So everyone, thank you for joining the group. And we have one birthday this week, and that is Strickland66, and she is Michelle. So happy birthday. And that is an interesting segue. I want to say some thank yous today. Last week when I recorded and I said, oh, nobody has a birthday, some of you caught me, and I tried to keep a low profile on Monday. Yes, Monday was my birthday, and many of you, thank you for your well wishes. It was a tickle every time one popped up on Plurk, and it just made me giggle, and I was at home. I stayed home Monday. I took the day off. So I wasn't as a prolific of a Plurker as I usually am, but I kept an eye on it. I'm not going to lie. I do want to say thank you to 3 ladies in particular, because they actually went and gifted me patterns, which I was amazed. I'm new to the podcast world, relatively speaking. I'm nowhere near the fan base of some of the really spectacular podcasts out there, especially in the knitting community. And for people to think of me and think of me like that is, it just blows me away. So I want to say thank yous to Stitches Please, Courtney. Not only did she gifted me the Glen Allen shawl by Designs by Dee. This is by Dee O'Keefe, and it is a paid pattern on Ravelry. So that is now in my library. But because we're friends and we are local, we met up on Saturday and did a little spinning and a little knitting at our local yarn store. And not only did she gift me the pattern, but she also made me some of the cutest little stitch markers. She has some of the ring ones and some of the ones with the wire, and I do use the ones with the wire. I've never used the kind with the rings, but I have a project in mind that I think that would really come handy on. So Courtney, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so that was Courtney. Now Emily, who is AKA Millie, she gifted me the Water Street cardigan. Now, that's an ambitious project, so I'm gonna have to get working on that one, I'm sure. But Emily, thank you very, very much. It is very much appreciated. So I'm gonna have to find some yarn. I don't know where I could find some yarn. Maybe I'll use some of yours. Emily has a new store. She's an indie dyer, and her background is in print, and she's a printer. So she's taking her knowledge of color theory and color and translating that onto yarn. And I've seen some of her early work, and it is really... She lives in Alaska, a little bit of background, and her inspiration is drawn from nature there in Alaska. And since we just went on an Alaskan cruise back in June, we got to see firsthand some of the vistas that she's drawing her inspiration from, and I can tell you her yarn is spot on, and it is really, truly amazing stuff. So Emily, thank you for the pattern. I do look forward to knitting it, although sweaters apparently take me a year at a time the way I'm going. So that one is the next one on my to-do list. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to Simona Maloney, who's Simona. She actually, her PayPal wasn't working and she couldn't gift the pattern that she wanted to do, so she just sent me a little something in PayPal, which I had this pattern in my cart, and I was gonna buy it for myself, for a birthday present for myself, and I didn't, and I'm so glad I didn't, because now, Simona, this is what I got. I got the Aranami shawl, and I've been looking at this one for quite a long time. I really like the background of the inspiration, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's very reminiscent to me of, it's supposed to be stormy seas and inspiration coming from Japanese art and that sort of aesthetic, and I totally get it. When I was in the military, I was stationed over in Korea for a year and a half, and one of the big things to do there is right outside the big garrison in Seoul, South Korea, there is a museum, and it has a lot of Korean history, and if you don't know, there's a lot of history between Korea and Japan, and it's not always good. That being said, it has produced some of the most prolific, I think, Asian art cultures over there, with the history, the storytelling of some of these epic battles and wars, and I can totally see the influence of that genre and style, the aesthetic that is drawn from the Asian art in that shawl, and I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to knit it. I actually have some yarn earmarked for a different project that I think I'm going to use instead, and not my next shawl, but one of the next shawls I'm going to do is definitely that one. So thank you, Simona, very, very much. So some shout outs. P.S. If you don't know, this show is going to be a little bit longer than usual. Just putting it out there, but we're going to have fun with it. So moving on, shout outs. I want to mention that my Spinners and Weavers Guild, the Fredericksburg Spinners and Weavers Guild, we have a charity event, and this is the second time we've done it. I just missed out on the first go round. I wasn't a member of the guild yet. So what it is we have a day where we bring in members of the guild, and we take in donations of yarn, needles, patterns, and we have the community come into our guild space or studio space, and we teach them how to knit or crochet. Maybe even weave. I don't know. I've never done it before. So some people may get a woven scarf, but what we do is charity knitting, and it's scarves and hats and mittens and gloves and blankets and that sort of thing. We do this in conjunction with another charity from the heart, and the pieces go to battered women's shelters and homeless shelters in the area. Some of the schools in the area also benefit some of the underprivileged children in the area. We give that, and we work through the schools to provide hats and mittens and gloves and socks to individuals that need it. Chemo caps to the hospital. We have a very large hospital in the area. It's a teaching hospital, Mary Washington. So it is very community engaging. So what I would like to do is, if you guys have any yarn in your stashes that either you're not going to use, or you know you can part with because you've got so much of that red heart sitting in the closet, yes, we need nice, but clean. It can be partial. So if you have remnants, so if you have half a skein of red heart that you're not going to use, or some other yarn that you're not going to use, we'll take that too, as long as it's clean and in decent shape. If you would like to donate that, please PM me, get in touch with me, plurk me, and I will give you the address for this studio, the guild space. And actually, I'll come back to that later in the show and give you the address that you can either send it directly, or if you want to send it to me, I'll take it in. So yes, it's called Let's Stitch. So the Let's Stitch event is coming up. Another charity I would like to highlight. A few weeks ago, I asked you guys to let me know what your favorite charities were. So I was going to highlight two of those today. Kelly Joe Girl. She likes to give her time and effort to the Mother Bear Project, and that was an interesting one. That is providing teddy bears, either knit or crochet, to children affected by HIV/AIDS. So that is a very wonderful project that I think if you guys are toy knitters out there, check it out. There's a link in the show notes. That might be something that if you've got some extra yarn laying around too, that you might be interested in. And then Born to Knit and Purl, that's Andrea. She does blankets for Project Linus, and I also have a link to that particular organization in the show notes. So two very worthy causes that I wanted to highlight this week, and a little bit different than just asking for donations or things like that. So get involved, check it out. It's a big world out there, and we all have a little part to play, I think. So it's my PSA for the week. All right, so on to the question of the week. So summer broke, and it broke in a big way here on Saturday. I was standing in Hancock Fabric, anxiously waiting for the sales associate to cut my fabric, because I saw the clouds barreling in, and we had thunderstorms, and it was almost as bad as the storm that knocked out my window back in June, the derecho. Not quite as bad, but we sustained no damage this time, not down here, but further north, closer to Washington, D.C., there were problems. But it is now fall. It is in the air. You can, people are talking about it. Everybody's, such a nice day. Oh, it's a nice day. What did you do today? I went out and I ate lunch, or we ate dinner on the patio, or I sat with my coffee on the deck and I spent the morning knitting in the sun with that beautiful slight breeze. There's a crispness in the air. So much so that I had a little bit of a nosebleed this morning. But it's been wonderful. So my question for this week is, what is your favorite season and why? So I've noticed that being a knitter, I've picked up on folks that knit, that crochet, that work with yarn and fiber, that fall seems to be a predominantly favorite season for us all. And I think, now this is my theory, I think it's because we're knitting with wool and things to cover you up in, and socks and cozy, comfy things. And the fall just reminds us again about why we like to do what we do. It just validates all of the energy we put into it. And yes, it is my favorite season, the fall. The autumn, I hate being hot. I hate it. I can't sleep. I have a condition, a neurological condition, that when my lower extremities, from my knees down, when my legs and feet get hot, I'm very uncomfortable. So in the wintertime, I have a window open and I have a fan specifically pointed towards my feet because I can't sleep if my feet are hot. No socks to bed, no covers on my feet. No, I don't do any of that. They have to be cold. I know that's weird, but it is what it is. So when the heat goes away and the autumn comes in, it just, I feel like a weight is lifted, and I love the fall. So again, what is your favorite season? Alrighty, so on to the whole reason why everybody's here. I'm announcing the winner of round 5 of the Ravelry Shawl Library knitting game. So we've had 5 rounds, not the normal 4. I tried to highlight patterns of different techniques, different styles. They had different shapes and different constructions, and I tried to spread it out as much as I could. And our final round was the Easy 100th Anniversary Camping Half Circle Shawl by Mawad Knits. Okay, and that went up against the In the Pink by Izzy Knits. So the winner of round 5 with 79% of the vote is the Easy 100th Anniversary Camping Half Circle Shawl. All right, so this one I think I put up on round 2, and it has carried over for the entire knitting game. So this is about as close as we've come. I think the lattice rib hat, my very first knitting game, the lattice rib hat won all the way through. This is the second one. This is the closest we've come to having a clean sweep. So that's going to be the next knitting game knit. Now, I was going to do the thing where I have y'all vote for the yarn, but I have a particular individual in mind. I have a particular color in mind. So now it just comes down to trying to find 850 yards of yarn. So with most dyers, and I do want to use an indie dyer out there because it's a special shawl that I'm going to do. Yeah, that's that's probably about 3 skeins of yarn. I could get lucky and hit somebody that has 462 yards in a hank, but I'm thinking most folks, and I just want to do a simple merino or merino nylon. I don't want to do any MCN or anything crazy, just pretty simple, and I don't want it to shed or anything like that. So I think 400 yards for a hank is about what it's going to take. And so that would be 3 because I need 850 yards. It says 750 to 850, but because I don't want to worry about running out. I think I'm a pretty tight knitter, but if I'm dipping into 50 yards, I can do another pair of socks or something, or a pair of gloves or mittens with it. So it's not like it's going to go to waste if I buy 3 instead of 2. You know, I don't want to be stuck there going, did I get enough? All right, so there's your winner. It's the 100th anniversary camping half circle shawl. And that one is going to be, it looks so intricate, and I think I'm going to learn a lot on that one because I have a feeling that I've never done a half circle. I've only done the triangle shaped ones, so this will be a different type knit. All right, updates on the previous knitting games. The only one I have right now is the Sayuri sweater, and yet again, I didn't touch it. I'm sorry. I know, I'm bad. I should not do that. But I've been knitting furiously on another project, so I haven't done anything. I don't have much more to do. Once I get into it again, it'll go pretty quickly. But really, unless it's a Christmas project right now, I think things are going to start sliding to the back burner. Not necessarily being frog. They're just going to hibernate for a while until I can get through. Christmas is really on my mind right now already, I know. Alrighty, so on to the other stuff. This is going to be a long show, folks, and so thank you. If you just came for the knitting game, thank you. Don't forget, I will debut new stuff next week, so tune in. If you want to see the other stuff, and then this is a great week for other stuff, stay. All right, so the first other stuff is my 10 in 2010 shawl. It is my first shawl project that I ever started. I started it about a year ago. I completely frogged it after it hibernated for quite some time. But as you can see, I am definitely cranking through this baby. I am on the 7th repeat, and I am 3 rows in. I haven't gotten a lot of knitting done on this in the past week. My knitting time has been kind of cut recently. So I've been spreading my time out between my knitting and my spinning. So this is done in Madeline Tosh Prairie in the Baltic colorway. It is a single lace weight, 100% super wash merino. And it is super soft, and oh, it feels so good. I can't wait till I finish it. And I'm knitting these on size 4 red lace Chow Goo needles. So you can see those there. The cable on these I think is wonderful for shawl and sweater knitting. They're very sturdy. They don't kink. They don't wrap up on you. But because they are sturdy, unless you're using 2, I wouldn't necessarily use them for socks. Otherwise, I think they're great. So that is my first shawl, and it is coming along wonderfully. My next knitting work in progress is my color affection. Now, last week when I talked about my color affection, I just barely cast it on. In a week, not only have I gotten through the first section, but I finished the second section where you add the second stripy part of the color. And then, if you can tell here, it's a little bit, I have gone through the first set of repeats on the short rows to add my third color. So this one is flying, and yeah, so I went from there to there, and that is one repeat. So if you think every time I do that, you know, it's only going to take me a half dozen to a dozen repeats, and that's, yes, getting down and knitting all the way down here is going to take a while, but I don't think it's going to be that bad because I've already knit that far down on a short, I don't know. So I know a lot of people say, oh, it's monotonous, it's a lot of, back and forth garter stitch. I love it. I think it's great. The colors get added in at just the right point where even if I had started to get bored, it's not boring knit. So I'm doing these with Knit Picks palette. This is the Autumn Heather colorway, this rust color. It's rust. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a rust. And then the blue is a Marine Heather. And then my green here is the Aurora Heather. And that's green. So I call it my RGB, red, blue, green color affection. So, and this is the fingering weight version. I am going to do a lace weight version, and I have some different colors picked out for that, but I wanted to do the fingering version first because I was already working on a lace weight shawl. Okay, so stash expansions. Because it was my birthday, things got kind of crazy. So I'm going to go through these really quick. All right, so today in the mail, I was able, yes, I already caked it because, yeah, these, I might even cast these on tonight. I'm going to do some Steelers socks for a friend of mine who is a big Steelers fan, and it's her Christmas present. I don't think she watches the show, and if she does, I don't think she knows who she is, so yeah, I might even start these tomorrow. So some Steelers socks, Christmas knitting. This is Fiber Nymph Dye Works. It has her Bumblebee colorway on the bounce base, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon, and it's 400 yards. So I'm going to do toe up. I was going to do an afterthought heel, but then I thought, no, I don't want to have to worry about reserving out yarn to figure out an afterthought heel. I'm just going to do half of it on one toe up, half of it on another, and just call it a day, and I think that'll be great. All right, so that's that. All right, so I have an Amazon wish list. I'm sorry, the camera is bouncing. And for birthdays and anniversaries and Christmases, my husband goes to this Amazon wish list where I just dump everything on, and he just picks a few things off of it and gets them for me. So I got books. He got me a bunch of books this time, and I was amazed. The first one I have to show you is Knit Swirl Utterly Flattering One Piece, One Seam Swirl Jackets. And this is by Sandra McIver. And that's a hardcover, folks. He got me the hardcover version of this book. And the instructions, I haven't really had a chance to look through this, but the instructions and the schematics are amazingly detailed, and I think it's going to be, when I get around to knitting a pattern in here, because Kagi of the High Fiber Diet podcast, she was talking about one of the patterns in here, and that's specifically why I put the book on my wish list, because I think it's the one on the cover is the one she was talking about in one of her episodes. So yeah, I think this is going to be really some neat stuff. So that is book number 1. Book number 2 is Cast On, Bind Off. I know a lot of you guys have this out here. What I really like about this one is that it is a spiral bound book, so you can open it up and it lays flat and you don't have to fiddle with the pages. This one I haven't had a chance to look through yet, but it's by Leslie Ann Bestor, and I'm Leslie Ann as well. So when I heard on Ready, Set, Knit, their podcast from Webs, that Leslie was going to do this book, I kept waiting for it to come out because she's Leslie Ann, and so am I. So I thought that was kind of neat. So I'm really excited about using some of these techniques because right now the only cast on I really do, other than a provisional cast on, is a modified long tail, short tail cast on where I use both ends of the yarn. and I can't take credit for that one. Emily from What You Swatchin' mentioned it and had a link to a YouTube video, and that's where I picked it up, and it's great. It's amazing. Solves all your problems with how much yarn I need and for that type of cast on. The next book I was able to get, and I'm sure that I am late to the game on this one, was Socktopus. 17 pairs of socks to knit and show off. Yes, the V-Junkie socks are in this one, and if I remember correctly, it was one more, I don't know if it was Dana or Brittany. One of them on the One More Row podcast was doing the V-Junkie socks, so it's in this book. So I was like, oh my god, I've heard of that sock. That's so awesome. So, and the last book I got, which was another hardcover book, this is amazing, was The Essential Guide to Color Knitting Techniques by Margaret Radcliffe. So, not only did I get some pattern books this time, but technique books. I think that's great. Color Affection is the first any type of color work I've done. So that is, wow, a lot with that. So that'll be good to get some techniques down. And the last knitting stash expansion for the week, he got me a wraps per inch tool. So I don't know, I can't decide whether that's knitting or spinning because I'll use it to measure my yarn for when I spin to figure out what kind of weight it is. But yes, now all I need is the clear cards for when I'm actually spinning and I can do the comparison. So that's good. I got the wraps per inch. All right, so moving on to spinning. On the bobbins, I haven't touched my merino from Wool Gatherings. This is some of the first fiber I ever bought, and some of the first fiber I ever bought off of Etsy. So I'm going for probably about a lace weight single. I'm gonna leave it as a lace weight single, so that will definitely be a Shaw at some point. I think I'm gonna quit calling them shawls because I feel like a doof. I'm gonna call them wraps, I think. Wraps. I'm gonna make a wrap. Somebody's gonna think I make dinner. Anyway, so the other thing that I've been furiously working on, because this is part of a Christmas set that I'm doing for my daughter, is this is from Gnome Acres. It's 100% Falkland, and it is in her Loki colorway, and this is amazing. This is still the first bump, and I have at least half of it to go, and I have that much already on the bobbin. So I'm definitely going to fill one bobbin with one and fill another bobbin with another, and I'm going to do a 2-ply. I'm going to do probably a pair of fingerless mitts and maybe a hat to go with it, depending on how much yardage I get. So that is coming along splendidly. I can't wait to get that all done. I do have a finished object, so my In the Hank. I have my, this was the Tri-Dye Club. This was my Gail's Art. This was 50/50 Polworth Silk. And I haven't washed it or thwacked it. And what this is I did 3 bobbins. So it's a true 3-ply. I don't know, I would say it's probably a sport weight. Because it looks a little bit heavier. Yeah, it's definitely thicker than a fingering weight. But I haven't used my wraps per inch tool because I finished it and had it hanked up before I got it. So I did get 225 yards of this. And I think this one I'm either going to do a scarf or some fingerless mitts for me. I don't knit a lot for me, so I think this one's going to be mine. All right. That was a little awkward, I'm sorry. Stash expansions. Man, did I score this week, let me tell you. Alright, so Loop fans, have I got something to show you? Oh, yes, I did. I had scored. This is my third loop bat, so I actually need, and I've only spun one, so that I need to get to spinning. But this is my 6.3 ounce loop bat in the Whirlpool colorway. And as you can see, it is beautiful blues and grays and blues and grays, and it's wonderful. It is merino, bamboo, Tessa silk, and it's got a little Angelina in there for some sparkle. Gorgeous. And it is so soft. It is amazing. So I got that. And then I was able to score some Aurora Borealis from Unwind Yarn Company. And that is Dana. And isn't that, I'm not going to take it out of the package because it's so pretty. Those colors just, oh my gosh. And this is Polworth. It is 100% Polworth. And it's 4.1 ounces. I was just thrilled. So beautiful stuff. If you can score on a loop bat, I would definitely recommend it. But Unwind Yarn Company, Dana there, she has got some of the most beautiful fiber, and she had a new, I don't think it's new, but it was new to me. I saw it the other night. It was called O Negative. Oh my gosh, everybody is dyeing up these most wonderful red yarns right now. Everybody has these wonderful brick bloody reds, and it's just amazing, and I just can't, yeah. Alrighty folks, so on to my last other. I've got some events coming up. Some of you are in the area, and if you are, please plan on attending, because that would be great. One that I know is going to be very well attended, because it always is the Virginia Fall Fiber Festival in Montpelier, Virginia. And that is the weekend of October 6th and 7th. The hours are on the blog in the show notes. And I'm going to be one of the volunteers in the education tent, and I'm going to be spinning. So that is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to be demonstrating spinning at the festival. And I was thinking I might actually enter some of my hand spun yarn into the judging. I hadn't thought about that, and I just saw it today or yesterday, and I've been thinking about it. So the deadline to get that in is next week, so we'll see. And the other event that I wanted to highlight this week was the second annual Let's Stitch, sponsored by the Fredericksburg Spinners and Weavers Guild, the Liberty Town Arts Workshop, and the From the Heart of the Heart charity organization. So the community is coming together, and we are going to do on October 13th from 10 to 4 at Liberty Town, knitting and crochet to help support some of the local charities in the area. So again, if you want to donate some yarn, just get in touch with me, and I'd be happy to set you up with an address, and or either mine or the arts workshop. All right, so that has been a very long show. I'm sorry, but thank you for sticking in with me. It's been fun. I had a lot to do today, and it's just kind of crazy. Alrighty, so no voting this week. You guys get the week off. So next week I will have, I'm thinking hats. So that's a little teaser. I'm thinking hats. Alright, so thank you for joining me. Have a great week, and I would say don't forget to play the game, but there's no games, so just have a wonderful week, and thank you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.